Welcome back. It's week 6 of Easy Education. I'm Easy to Chris, and I'm hopefully going to make education easy for you. The past 5 weeks, we've been going through the regular curriculum, but week 6 is the first week that I actually have the entire time off. And I'm kind of excited about that because I really just wanted to have a week where I could kind of digest everything and really let the lessons of the few books kind of sink in and recognize how do these different stories coalesce with one another? How do they actually build up something a little bit better? Separate from that, I needed to be able to have some time to kind of develop what this project is. I've kind of alluded to it in the past, but ultimately, this video that I'm making, this whole podcast series, it is my homework that I've provided myself. I need to be able to have some kind of practical application in order to get to the point that I'm trying to attain. And being able to do this on a regular basis does a couple of things. One, it accomplishes the goal of me actually creating the content that I need to create. Two, it's kind of a window for you guys to be able to see what this kind of education path could actually look like in a practical sense. And I hope that that can inspire you to try and develop your own curriculum so that way you can learn a path that's, more geared towards your interests personally. With me, I want to become a better storyteller. And the only way that I'm going to become a better storyteller is to go out and tell stories. So this whole process of forcing me to look through other people's readings in a certain lens and having my own focus on writing, editing, and creating videos and educating you, that's just ways that are getting me to become the person that I want to become. And I want to talk a little bit on that because week 6 is when I've really started to synthesize what all of the lessons have been. The first book that we got into was Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And ultimately, this is a memoir of a man who was a psychologist who spent 3 years in Auschwitz and came to the conclusion that you need to have some kind of meaning or purpose that you can grab a hold on to in order to be able to go through challenges in life. That's the thing that pushes you through, is what is your meaning? James Clear's Atomic Habits was the next book that we went into, and that talks about having an identity shift in yourself and visualizing yourself as the person that you want to become in relation to the opposite, which seems a little bit easier, and that's setting goals for yourself. At the beginning of the year, a lot of people that come into my barber shop talk about how they want to set a goal of becoming somebody who is more consistent with fitness. So their goal is to go to the gym more, where if they were to visualize themselves as a healthier, stronger person, what will you do that takes you down the path of becoming that healthier, stronger person? Well, it's probably going to include diet, and you're going to have better food that will be a regular part of your routine. It'll probably have exercise that'll become a better part of your routine. It'll probably have mindfulness that will make it so that way your mental clarity is a little bit more present. It could include a whole lot of things, but instead of setting goals that are ancillary to becoming that person, visualize yourself on that as that person and naturally walk down that path. The last book that we've started this quarter is Albert Camus' Myth of Sisyphus. And this is speaking of when you get to a point where you are facing true hardship. That is the point that you really have to evaluate your life. So when these men were committing suicide in World War II, they had to contemplate the meaning of life and whether or not life was worth living. Now, that's kind of hyperbole with regards to what it is that I'm doing. I'm not, opting out anytime soon. But I am constantly wondering, why is it that I'm doing this? What are the things that make the challenge worthwhile for me? And a lot of what I wanted when I set out to do this whole series was not to create regular video content and not to like scale it up every week and make it a little bit better every single week. That's become kind of an ancillary journey towards what my ultimate goal is. And my ultimate goal is to be a better storyteller. Truth be told, my personal goal is to finish a book that I've been writing for the last couple of years. And that goal of being the storyteller that I want to become is my primary focus. I'm visualizing myself as the person who can tell more concise stories. And the ancillary things that are happening on that path are I'm reading with a specific lens. I'm having to write with a specific focus. I'm having to edit to be more concise. I'm needing to educate you through video on what it is that I'm going through as a process. And all of those ancillary actions are actually helping shape me into the person that I want to become, which is ultimately the storyteller. And with enough given experience, I will be that storyteller. So that's why I wanted to be able to have practical application in the form of some kind of homework with the lessons that I'm doing over the course of this year. And how this is kind of turning out is really interesting because I've been wanting to see, okay, well, that's this year. What's next year? What's the year after that? And for years in my professional career, I always talk to people about the idea of 1, 3, 5, and 10-year plans. Your 1-year plan is what you're currently working on, but your 1-year plan should set you up for your 3-year plan. Your 5-year plan is the realistic goal that you should have that your 3-year status will allow you to achieve. And your 10-year plan is what you see yourself out as the distance. Now, one of the practical reasons that I started doing 1, 3, 5, and 10-year plans was because I used to be depressed to an extent that I didn't really see myself 1 year out. So when I started visualizing myself 3, 5, and 10 years out, that means I was still around. And it was kind of a self-preservation survival mechanism for me to be able to stick to this mortal coil, as it were. But realistically, it helps me shape all of the decisions that I'm making in the day. And that's what I got a lot out of James Clear's Atomic Habits, was the fact that you kind of have to visualize yourself as somebody that you have yet to become, so that way you can be on this path to become that person. Now, how is all of this shaping up right now? Well, this entire week off, I have been kind of developing what it is that I want to do with these videos and how I want to be able to shape the consistent kind of content that I'm giving you guys, what it is that I'm going to be looking like, how it is that I want to present myself, and really making it so that way this is more of a formula. And it's weird talking about that out loud, letting you guys know what it is that I'm trying to accomplish with these videos. But at the same time, I think that that's important because it's a mindset shift. So I started thinking about who is my demographic, as it were. Because, typically anytime that I've made any kind of video content online, it's with the music community, it's the tattoo community, it's the punk rock community. That's not really what this is. There is a punk rock ethos, I guess, that I kind of want to bring into this, because to me, punk rock is DIY and helping lift other people up when you know that they need help. It's really being there for your community. To me, that is punk rock. It is the most altruistic parts of myself. And I really do think that we live in an era where we've got kind of everything available to us. There's no reason that we can't go out and do these, but a lot of people just need structure and direction. And I'm pretty good at those things. Additionally, I realized that because this isn't the music and the punk rock community and the typical places that I find myself, who would it be? probably people my age. That makes sense because, I'm the one that's wanting to really be doing this. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, good. I see, these are the things that I'm learning in the moment. There was something that popped up and I thought that this had stopped recording. So anyways, there are people my age, and I think that there are people my age that just genuinely don't know how to be able to structure it so that way they can follow along and be able to have a lesson plan. But I also think there's a lot of people my age that are having kids themselves, and they want to be able to make sure that their kids get the proper education and they know how to have critical thought and they're not using these tools just to cheat and get the answers. I think that those are really, really important parts of why I want to do this the way that I do. So in thinking of how I want to formulate this, I'm finding myself creating PG content alone in my office where I've never done that before. Like I'm trying actively to have a language that's inviting to all of you. I'm trying really hard to not be the version of myself that I have typically been in person and online, because I do think that this is more important to be able to speak a message that's universal as opposed to within my own circle of influence. And I think that's one of the real important things of critical thought. If you are somebody who is just in a groupthink mentality, you're just gonna appeal to the community that you're a part of. You're gonna get some attaboys, you're gonna get some pat on the backs, but you're not going to branch yourself into another world. And in order to be able to truly refine critical thought, you need to have ideas that challenge your own ideas. You need to be able to speak out to other people with an emotional capacity that their differing opinions and their differing ideas don't make you, weaken your own resolve to stay level-headed, and you still need to be able to think through those ideas. I think this is one of the struggles that we have nowadays is, as soon as somebody has a different view or a different opinion, it becomes your team, my team. And this goes for any kind of perspective that you might have, whether it's the left or the right or the progressive or the conservative or whatever it is. At the end of the day, groupthink doesn't help us become more of a community. And that's where I really want to be able to develop this. So what I have been focusing on is how this is formatted. And the way that I communicate with you is an intentional decision. Additionally, I am going to be including some kind of takeaways for you guys because I want you to be thinking in a way that I think. And if that can be a positive influence, I really want to be that positive influence for other people. So thinking of how you can be able to use AI, some kind of LLM, some kind of chatbot, in a way that actually makes you think outside of the box or make you think greater, I want to challenge you guys to a simple exercise. Think of something abstract. Think of something that you want to accomplish, but you don't know exactly what it is that you want to accomplish. Say it's something creative. If you want to do something creative, but you don't know where your creativity lies, ask your chatbot to create a survey that you fill out. Let it drill information out of you so that way you can really be thinking introspectively on what is important to me. And I think that's one of the big lessons that I've taken away from these 3 books is figure out what your purpose in life is, figure out what your meaning is, face some kind of challenge so that way you really have to focus on it. And then once you understand what's important to you, visualize yourself as that person so you can have a path to be able to follow. Now, that's all of my takeaways from my week off. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit of a different video just because I didn't have a lesson planned today. It's kind of nice. However, next week, week 7, we are going to be having the overall focus be attention as a moral choice. We'll be reading James Clear's Atomic Habits, chapters 7 through 9. We've got the lens of our reading will be attention as an ethical decision. And the writing focus and everything that I'll be focused on in the essay in next week's video will be what you are implicitly choosing by what you attend to. That's probably going to be more exciting content just because it'll be a little bit more structured, a little bit more formatted, but we gotta have these days off, you know? Like, if we're all work, no play, makes Chris a dull boy. So, if you guys are enjoying this, please let me know in the comments down below. If there's anything that you have an idea of what it is that I could be doing for my next week off here in about another 6 weeks, let me know, because that's something that I could actually focus and give you guys some feedback on. So the comments that you guys provide for my week off will definitely help develop what the future episodes are going to look like. If you're not already following, I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts, and a like and follow would be wildly helpful. I would really appreciate it. If you want to read the essays, those will be available on my Substack. My handle is Easy to Chris, or you can find both the essays and the video content paired together every week on my website, easytochris.com. But thanks again for coming to Easy Education, and until next time, take it easy.